You've talked a lot about social biases, and you said in your statement with the MAC United for Justice that you're trying to break down these social biases. What biases, I guess, are you trying to break down specifically, and like, what do you mean by that? Like, what education, or what are you trying to, I guess, break down? Exactly how I said it.
Um, just the equality part of it, really. You know, the opportunities that are presented to white privilege, that black people have the same opportunities. Those are biases that go on all day long. You know, if you're a black woman in society today, not only and you're in the working world, not only do you not get paid nearly what a white woman would make, but you're also you're black and you're a black woman. That's two strikes against you. Those biases have to go away. I think it needs to be equality for each and every one of us, man, woman, black, white, whatever nationality you are, whatever ethnicity that you are, that we all have the same opportunities at the end of the day, that we feel like, you know, the pay scales, you know, they're different, you know. When I'm just talking to you just in my own profession, coaching, and I said to you guys a while ago that 80% of college basketball are black players, right? Then why is there only 29% black coaches? You know, because to me, at the end of the day, like, and the same goes for Ryder, and this is where President DeLome was identifying it. Ryder's done an unbelievable job of having a lot of black students. But if they don't see enough black leaders in athletics and the hierarchy of the university and professors, how is it that they're going to say, well, I want to be like him, I want to be like her, when they don't see that? You know, and to me, those are all the things that have to go away, because I want our players. This was an outlet for me, an opportunity for me to get out of my situation, fellas. And I struggled to grow up in a struggling situation coming up in my life. And if it wasn't for basketball and it wasn't for this opportunity, then I don't know where I would be. And so I want other black students on campus, all students, but other black students say, I want to be like him. I want to be like Coach Baggett. I want to make a difference. I want to impact, you know, not only all race and all genders of people, but I want to be able to lead young men. I want to be able, for me, what's good for me and what makes me feel good in life is that we're educating our athletes. We're getting them educated and getting them degrees, where the hell with the basketball, you know, they're going to have an opportunity to go on in life and have a productive life more often than not, because they're educated. They have a degree that will open up doors for them if they didn't have this education. And so to me, when I've been in this now 24 years going on, this is actually my 25th now, when I see our players come back and they're doing well and now they're having kids and families, and that to me is what it's all about. And so I looked at my white coach and said, I want to be like him. You know, I want to be a coach. I want to make an impact. He made a huge impact in my life. He was a white coach. But, you know, that to me was something that I you know, that's important to me. And those are biases that I want to go away, because I want across the board in every different industry, every, you know, blue collar, white collar, you know, the business world, whatever it might be, that there are opportunities for us all.
And you mentioned this is your 25th year in coaching. And I believe I read an article that when you got the job at Ryder, you like went into your office and cried, if I'm correct.
Absolutely.
Was that anything to do with race and maybe getting through that ceiling that maybe you had never really seen?
One is a blessing, man. When you were, I was an assistant coach for 16 years. To have an opportunity that you work for, that isn't guaranteed to any of us to become a head coach. The fact that I had the opportunity to be named a head coach here at Ryder, to be a black coach, and just coming from the struggles that I had growing up in my life, in my childhood, and, you know, not knowing we were going to have a roof over our head or food on our table or clothes on our backs. All of it was just like you know, everything that coming down at that moment for me, just to look back on my life for a quick reflection and see where I got. And as you know, when I grew up, I wrote goals down. You know, one of my goals was to be in the NBA. Well, that didn't happen for me, but, you know, Then it was to get into coaching. Then it was to be a head coach. And to be able to reach the pedestal or the pinnacle of your career, you know, to have an opportunity to do that, it was just a blessing and something that was pretty emotional to me.
Mm-hmm.
And you were a head coach for a long time, or assistant coach. What do you it was 16 years. Do you think there are coaches that don't, like, for example, like Stephen A. Smith obviously made controversial comments about the Steve Nash hire, which me and Dylan were talking about before, but do you believe there are coaches, I guess, who are held back within this field because of their race?
Absolutely. I mean, just look at our profession right now. There are former, I would say about 5 years ago, the numbers were greater as far as black coaches are concerned. But if you look at our industry, there are a lot of fellas. I got 3 assistant coaches on my staff right now that could be head coaches tomorrow that would do an unbelievable job. And the reason why I've had success is because I've had great assistant coaches around me. They just deserve and need an opportunity. And so to me, those opportunities aren't given a lot of times. When you look at the search firms that are going on now, they're hiring. It's not, to me, I don't necessarily want to say it's a social bias. I just think that ADs, they're more comfortable with hiring people that look like them, you know. And so I don't want to call it racist by no means. I just think that their comfortability in terms of hiring another white person that looks like them, I think that's what happens. And so I think these search firms, I think these ADs and presidents, I think they got to look at that a little bit more. I think they got to, you know, give black coaches opportunities that deserve it, and they'll go on. And I'm not saying everybody's going to have success, but I think there are a lot of great coaches out here that a lot, white and black, but I think there are a lot of black or assistant coaches out here that would be great head coaches. And I got 3 of them here. So I know a lot of coaches out there, whether they've been head coaches before or they've been associate head coaches or associate assistants, you know, they just need the opportunities. And I think when it comes to our sports, if you see what the NFL was trying to do with draft picks, if they hired a black head coach, if they hired a black executive, they were going to that draft pick would be improved even greater. I mean, I just think there needs to be things in place. If you guys looked at it, I want to say there's a conference in NCAA that now is looking at addressing sort of the Rooney Rule a little bit, you know, in terms of interviewing more minorities. I can't remember which league it is, but it just we need an overhaul on this. We need people addressing this a little more, you know, and understanding. I see what Calipari's doing, trying to if you guys saw where they're putting out the funding to try and get more minorities in place to be ADs in any administrative offices, because, you know, there's not enough black ADs. There's not enough black presidents. We don't have either one in the MAC conference right now. You know, so I just think those are things that need to be addressed.
Mm-hmm.
And the follow-up off, like what you're saying, I saw the other day that you put your support for a nonprofit called ABIS, Advancement for Black in Sports. Can you tell me a little bit about what that is, and is that kind of what their message is?
Yeah, it is. This is Gary Charles is the gentleman that runs it. There are a lot of men's and women's coaches on this committee. One of the biggest things that I would call that they're really fighting against would be the SAT or ACT, which is a major it's a major bias, racial bias, if you're asking me, because you know, when this test is being administered, and you're talking about the lack there of education and resources in the different inner cities and what have you, compared to some other populations that rural populations that might be well off financially and supported. It's not an even playing field, fellas. And so they're really pushing toward trying to get the SAT and the ACT eliminated. I know a lot of schools have gone away from it and don't weigh it nearly as much as they have. But when it comes to sports in Division I, not just Division I, all divisions, that SAT and ACT is still being weighed in order for you to be eligible to play during that collegiate year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know that one.
Yep.
I don't know if, like, Shaun, you had any more questions? Great.
I have two more things that I kind of want to touch on. First, you were you were an assistant at Howard, if I'm correct, right?
Yes. Yep. For 2 years.
Can you tell me, I guess, kind of about that experience? I believe it is the biggest HBCU, and what kind of experiences you put into your life today, and as you try to educate, and also the effect of the McCord Maker commitment. I'm sure you've heard about that. He was the 5-star who committed there. What kind of effect do you think that could have on future college basketball players? He said a lot of what you're saying, where he wants people to look at him as almost someone to follow.
Right. Yeah. So my experience at Howard was great. It was the first time I'd ever been to a university. Anytime you go to a white institution, it's more or less, more often than not, predominantly white. And so to have an opportunity to go to a historically black college, which was the reverse of that, to be around your own people, it was a great opportunity for me, because there were a lot of people that could work anywhere, but they decided to work at Howard that were certainly well qualified. If you look at Howard, man, they have a lot of high-powered people in entertainment, music. They've had, and you see the young lady that's going, Kamala, was it Kavala? I'm drawing a blank on her name now. The Biden's vice president.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. Yeah, excuse me. She's from Howard. I mean, they produced a lot of unbelievable people there, and have the opportunity to have worked there for 2 years and just experience it, and you know, to be around your own, and having worked at predominantly white universities, it was a great experience for me, a great opportunity. And you know, on the second half of your question, I don't just want it to be historically black coaches that our top black players decide to go and play for, because that eliminates me, because I'm at a white institution. But I would like to see, and when you go back and you think about the John Thompsons, you think about John Chaney, you think about Nolan Richards, these were some I know I'm drawing a blank on another one, but these were some prevalent players back in the day, where players wanted to play for these black coaches. If you guys remember, well, you're too young to remember, but that during that time, these kids were identifying black coaches and wanting to go play for them. And so here we are now. Again, that's part of what I was talking about. Like, we can relate to these guys. Their walk is our walk. Our walk is their walk. And so why can't they go to the NBA, where John Calipari sells them on the fact that he can get them to the NBA and he does an unbelievable job? Why can't those same players go do that for a black coach? You know, why can't they go to a historically black college and go to the NBA and be a first-round pick, you know, just as if they would from a white institution? And so to me, I like that. I like the fact that people are becoming more open to that, and you know, hopefully we will benefit from it a little bit, you know. But yet at the end of the day, it's trying to do what's right by our athletes and get them educated, and if playing basketball going forward is what they want to do, then it's our job to do that as well. It's their job to meet us halfway, but we can do the same. We can do what John Calipari's done. You know, we can certainly, and I'm not saying he hasn't done an unbelievable job, but I think if we're put in those situations, that we could do the same. Mm-hmm.
And actually, I'm also doing a story on Coachingversos charity soccer. I believe it's called Mooch Soccer. And he said he actually told me you're an advisor to it, or you're not an advisor, but like you're an asset to it in some way. Do you mind taking?
Yeah, you know, I love Charlie. And I told Charlie anything that he needs me to do, I'm willing to do. I think he does an unbelievable job, and so I'm in support of everything. I really, this whole time has allowed our athletic department to become closer as coaches. sometimes you're so engulfed in your own jobs that you don't get a chance really to get to know other coaches. I really thought these Zoom meetings that we've had amongst us as coaches, it brought us all together. We got to know one another's families more, and we just got to know true values of who we really are as men and women. And I think they've done an unbelievable job of assimilating great coaches here at Ryder. And so Charlie's part of it. And so again, it's given me the opportunity just to be a part of everybody's program, which I really appreciate.
All right, that should do it for me. Dylan, you got anything else?
No, I think I'm good. If there's anything else like you want to add that you think is like relevant for us to like, highlight in the story,
No, again, fellas, I just want to see change. I mean, if there's anything that I would tell you, for us all. I mean, I'm not. Again, I talk about equality, but I want it for everybody. I want us to be able to. Everybody to experience the same, everybody to come together. I always say this, and I'll leave you guys with this. You guys were probably young when 9/11 happened, right?
Mm.
And I remember there was a time when, like, they would play that song, "It's Great to Be an American," right? America, right? And we were all proud because that was a time where we all had to come together because it was another country that was going against us and what had happened when they burned down the two buildings, right? And our country was united for a little while then, but it's just like anything else. As time goes on, like we started to separate again. And at that time, it was a great feeling because, people knew we needed to come together. Well, here we are now. Can we do that not only just for now, but just going forward? And that, again, that this just doesn't become a movement, just a moment, that it becomes a movement that, that we can all come together. And I'm encouraged because including from our own athletes and from the young white generation that I see coming up, that they want the same. I mean, they want the same. They understand that, we all can exist together. I tell people the black population in America is only, in the United States, is made of 15%. We cannot make changes alone if white people won't stand with us. If you just think about it's 15% black population in America, there's no way we can make the change by ourselves. Mm-hmm. But if white people take a stand with us, we can make a dramatic change.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, we really appreciate your time. And
thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, fellas.
No, I actually learned a lot. Like, I actually want to thank you, like, genuinely from the bottom of my heart.
Me too.
Absolutely. Anytime you guys